All right, let's welcome in the Powerhouse panel. We've got Republican strategist and attorney Amanda Mackey with us. Former Trump campaign aide Rick Gates is back with us, and joining us here on the panel this morning, presidential historian Doug Weed. Doug, it's so nice to have you on. I just want to quickly, with your expertise on having covered Ronald Reagan for so long, he and Gorbachev, the last time we had one of these summits was 1985 in Geneva. And Gorbachev and Reagan, they were able to, throughout the course of 8 years, work out a relationship between an American president and a Russian president that is unprecedented since the start of the Cold War. What has changed? What is different about Vladimir Putin? Why has no American president been able to really crack the Putin code yet?
Well, these summits don't happen in a vacuum, and I think part of the problem is they're poorly planned, the precedent for it. I mean, for example, Joe Biden went into this summit with the context of having canceled the Keystone Pipeline. 6 presidents had sought energy independence. We finally got it under Trump, and then we abandoned it. Then right on the heels comes the Soviet, perhaps the Russian, shutdown of colonial oil and the first gas lines we've seen since Carter. All of this is happening before the summit, and he comes to the summit with this tepid little paper, please don't hack these companies. That's the context of it. And then the Nord Stream pipeline, giving that away. Well, what's the purpose of the summit? It's like a victory lap for Putin. Yeah, Doug, and now I worry about how China and Russia will react to all of this.
Well, it's interesting you bring up what not to hack. So obviously this guy's former KGB. He knows what's valuable in the U.S. and what's something that would hurt us if they were to hack. Rick, what if there's something on the list that the Russians hadn't even thought of? It's like, why would the president's team be like, okay, let's give Vladimir Putin, Rick, to you on this. Let's give Vladimir Putin a list of things not to hack. To me, that's a list of things that are totally hackable, that will hurt us.
Yeah, I was starting from a point of weakness, and Biden, in doing that, displayed that he was not controlling the agenda, he was not controlling the tone or the tenor of the summit. And this was I think a huge loss, from a perceptual loss. And then obviously we'll see if it's a cyber loss as well, as some of these assets are attacked. But he didn't need to do it. It was unnecessary. Get the point. You're trying to send a threat. You're trying to send a message. But if you're from a position of strength, you don't need to do that. You can do that based on the power that you have, the gravitas that you have. And that's exactly what Biden was missing throughout the entire week, not just this summit.
Amanda, nice to have you on. We heard about Paul Whelan and Trevor Reed yesterday. They're American prisoners that are being held in Russia right now. Joe Biden said he wants them back. Putin intimated that a prisoner exchange is possible. This hasn't gotten a lot of attention, but I think it's something that should be getting more attention, because these are 2 Americans that should not be in Russian jails right now.
It should, and there should be other commitments that Biden should have been able to secure but couldn't. So this just goes to the larger, more broader narrative that this was a sign of weakness, not a sign of strength. I don't think Biden looked well in this. He didn't position himself well. Putin was the one that took questions for nearly an hour. He really came at it from a position of strength, and Biden did not. He couldn't get a commitment on jailed Americans. He couldn't get a commitment on taking responsibility for the 100+ companies in the United States that have been hacked, our food sources, our oil supplies, all these things that Joe Biden couldn't even get a commitment on. And of course, the prisoners that you mentioned. I think it was just a failure on many levels. This meeting that they had.
And the arrogance of the quote unquote best and brightest at the White House. They literally thought that by letting Putin go first, Biden, like, opposition party would do after the State of the Union, would go out there and be able to respond and kind of take down point by point everything that Putin brought up. It's Joe Biden. You should have known better. He wasn't going to have the ability to do that. So Putin got out there, a trained propagandist, said whatever he wanted on the world stage before the world's press for 55 minutes, and Joe Biden didn't call him on anything. You guys are coming back right after the break, but I did want to get your take on Joe Biden having a list of questions. He confronted this yesterday when he went out at the beginning of the press conference. He said, I've got to look at my list here. Take a listen to what he said.
I'll take your questions, and as usual, folks, they gave me a list of the people I'm going to call on.
All right, Rick, to you, you were with Donald Trump. And just be honest, I know you will be, but did Donald Trump have a list of people to call on? I don't recall that.
Never. And the irony is Donald Trump called on everybody, even reporters that, purportedly didn't like him. And so that is just, somebody that has no problem engaging in the media, has no problem answering questions, regardless of, their personal feelings about him. And the fact that this has become a standard for Biden, along with the line that, hey, I'm not supposed to be answering questions, my staff's going to be mad at me. Those two constants we are seeing more and more, and I think we're going to continue to see them. That's the only way to control Joe Biden.
Yeah, Doug, same question to you, but this time let's do Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush. Reagan would call on anyone, it seemed like.
Yeah, Reagan had confidence. He knew what he was going to say. He wasn't reacting to others. Rob, I pick up on the little gossip, the drips of gossip from this summit. They're fascinating to me. And one thing is Biden misspeaking and referring to Trump. He's just got Trump on the brain. He can't get rid of it. And he goes in there thinking Trump's rebuilt NATO. Somehow I got to prove to them that I have value. And then Trudeau's little comment about Harris that was picked up. That's what fascinates me.
Yeah, I think we all do to an extent. Panel, we will see you again after the commercial break. Doug Weed, Rick Gates, Amanda Mackey looking to that. We'll see you guys in just a moment.